Hey folks and Awakening Truthers, welcome to another video from A Plain Truth. Why are so many politicians going to paradise when it's all been forgotten by the mainstream media and by the people in general about what has occurred and the genocide and the tens of thousands that have died and are missing? Why is Arnold Schwarzenegger going there? Why is Ron Howard going to make a film about there? We had family relatives, and why are the men in black, the Jesuits, Donald Trump, Governor Moonbeam, Jerry Brown, the Jesuit minister, and Jesuit school Gavin Newsom, why are they all descending on paradise when they didn't go to Malibu, they didn't go to Sonoma or Napa, they didn't go to Redding or Lake County or all the other fires? Well, now we got this guy who's been filming inside of paradise now for weeks. I've been watching some of his films. I don't know who he is. I don't know why. He says he lives there. He's a spiritual activist. But now he's got Robert Kennedy Jr. descending upon paradise, keeping the story alive as far as the story goes. But how did he get Robert Kennedy to come? How did he get in contact with Kennedy? How did they start the interview process? And as you're going to hear in this interview, as I'm going to break it down, they're setting the meme for the official narrative that PG&E caused the fires and they're going to rebuild and blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to break it down for you because either this gentleman has got it very, very wrong about what's going to happen next, or he's in on it. I hate to say it, but how did he get Kennedy? So let's break it down.
So, today we're going to be interviewing Robert Kennedy Jr. With Lotus Guide. My name is Rahasia, and we're going to be talking about the campfire. And I heard you went up there this morning for a quick run through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah, it is totally shocking, and I think that's the thing that people are going to come to grips with. My wife Dara and I, we're going to put in a Lotus Guide Center for Healing up there. Because as the people start rolling back in, it's going to hit them what they're up against. Not for a week or 2 weeks or a month. It's years in the process. Just getting the infrastructure back,
There's no, I think the water lines and the sewer lines and, there's no infrastructure there at all. It's hard to even imagine how people are going to rebuild there.
It's tough to imagine because we're in uncharted territory. This has never really happened to this extent. Where infrastructure, shopping centers, homes, I think 14,000 homes.
14,000 homes, additionally another 5,000 structures, including 500 businesses.
Yeah.
It's really the heart of the community, and it's all, I don't even understand how they can do it because there's not going to be any tax base in the community. There's nothing to pay for any
It's going to be
So here he's making a terrible assumption that they're going to rebuild when in fact Cal Chief Ken Pimlott, retiring, says that rebuild, burn, rebuild might not be such a good idea, yet they're promoting that they're going to be building in paradise, but we know from out in Santa Rosa they're going to find toxicity in the soils, they're going to find all these reasons why paradise can't be rebuilt. Remember, the whole town was destroyed, the entire town, and they're clear-cutting it for their own agendas.
We're working with the Paradise Chamber of Commerce and the Butte County Small Business Development Center. And the challenge is going to be, you have to get people up there, but the people don't want to come without business. You got to get the businesses up there, but they don't want to come without the people.
Right.
So it's going to be this finessing to get everybody to start trickling up. And
again, no one's going to be allowed to rebuild. Insurance costs going up, solar panels on homes, batteries in the car, in the garage door openers, all the costs are going to be so expensive to rebuild, and they don't have enough insurance money to rebuild, so they're not going to.
Not too sure, and I think that's something we have to be comfortable with, saying, I really don't know, and start coming together. Because when we were going around taking video, I would see a video of a house with a swing set. I'm thinking, oh my God, these are families with kids, and now they're living in tents.
Now they're living in tents? We've been up there half a dozen times. We can't find the people that are trying to find others to help. We've got money to help, and we're still having trouble finding people. And they're blowing smoke up our butts because they're playing with the numbers. Here they're saying on November 7th. The fire started on November 8th, folks, and they're saying November 7th. The number of acres burned by 350% the second day. So the fires increased, though it was traveling at 80 football fields a minute or 237 miles an hour, and the fires increased on the second day. Are you kidding me? This is their official narrative. This is the USA Today coming out and saying we're able to locate people by their cell phones. We're able to find out where they are by tracking them with their cell phones, and that's how we can identify them. But it's just beyond the pale that they couldn't use the cell phones to help alert people to get out of the fires. And here the number they're coming up with is just ridiculous in that they're saying that the people had 26,000 residents that got out of Paradise. Now, when they got out of Paradise, they evacuated to Chico, yet we've been to Chico many times and we can't find the camps. They've been shut down. We can't find the people. They've been displaced, but no one seems to know where they are. The Red Cross has shut down their centers. 2 out of the 4, I know at least, have been shut down weeks ago because there wasn't anybody in there. But they're able to locate out of Paradise that they all went down to Chico. They identified them by their cell phones of where they went, and they went into Chico, and that's where they are. I'm sorry, they're not there. We can't find them. We're not getting in reports. When we first came out with the number that 52,000 people had been displaced and evacuated. That's the official number from the Guardian newspaper, CBS 60 Minutes, the New York Times. 52,000. So why are they using 26,000, which is exactly half of 52,000? Well, we can't find anyone, or we're finding very, very few people that need help. Yet they're saying by the phone records, we could find and identify them. This is just beyond the pale that they're not even doing body counts anymore, and the official number of dead is something like 86 people. Yet here we're seeing the numbers 52,000, 52,000, 52,000 everywhere. So where are these people, folks? Where did they go to? We can't find them. Some maybe fled down to Sacramento. We know that. We've located some. Some fled up to Oregon. But again, nothing like the tens of thousands that are still missing and unaccounted for. They're not to be found. And another thing, the people in Paradise were not alerted by their cell phone alerts, the Nextel, all the signups. They did not get warned. But they can be tracked by their cell phone coverage now where they are.
And it comes to the point of, we're so glad you're here with what you can do, because our main concern right now, obviously, is the people living in tents with kids and everything. But something has to be done to bring responsibility for this to the public awareness. And I think that's where you come in, you know. So what is your plans here? What do you plan on doing?
We're doing a number of things. One is we're helping people pro bono. I'm working with Baum Hedlund, which is the law firm that I partnered with last summer in the Monsanto case when we won, this historic $289 million jury verdict against Monsanto for Roundup. And the same firm, along with which has on its staff some of the best fire investigators and fire attorneys in the country, we're partnering to do a couple of things. One is, in the short term, to represent people pro bono in this area, anybody who needs help with their FEMA applications, their insurance applications, people who aren't getting a good response from their insurance companies, and we will help you with that, and we'll make sure that you have dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's and help you fill out your applications, and all of that is pro bono.
So you're telling me, Mr. Advocate for the People, that you're going to work with former FEMA Director James Lee Witt, who was brought out to lead out the Rebuild North Bay and the Sonoma fires here, who was over in Paradise leading that, who makes money on disaster capitalism with his E5, E6 visa programs and his C-Corp disaster capitalist companies. You're going to tell me that you're going to be working with these scumbags? These guys that have put on over 50 acres next to the Chico airport with these massive 5 hitches and these Cirque du Soleil tents like they're going to be here for a very long time. Yet they're telling us they don't even have enough room to house the people in the trailers because there's not enough room to house the people. The same people that are opening up the FEMA Walmart camps, that are putting the immigrants, the children, separating them from their families, and then they go missing for all the child trafficking. Oh, is that what you're going to work with, Mr. Kennedy? You're going to work with the FEMA guys? Is that what you're telling us and blowing smoke up our butts because that's the system that's going to work? Are you
People
kidding
aren't
me?
getting a good response from their insurance companies, and we will help you with that, and we'll make sure that you have dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's and help you fill out your applications, and all of that is pro bono. Or people who decide they want to go ahead, that they have a claim against Pacific Gas and Electric or some of the other people who are responsible for the fire, and we will be filing mass action, not class action, but mass torts in order to recover, one, for people who were underinsured, and for things that are covered in lawsuits but are not covered by insurance, like evacuation, the loss of pets, which in California you can now sue for the personal injury from that, not just the market cost of that pet, for the lost income, and from the many other losses that insurance won't cover.
So again, do we not learn anything here in the Santa Rosa area? No one is allowed to rebuild because the insurance does not cover enough cost for rebuilding. So he's blowing smoke up our asses again, folks. So again, he's advising you to play in the system, but here a year and a half later, no one's gotten the money from anybody. PG&E, they're going to blame here. You're going to hear it in a minute. But it's giving hopium that someone else is going to make a difference when we all know that these were directed energy attacks and this was genocide and mass murder, but you won't hear that from any politicians.
You know, one of the good things about Monsanto case, for instance, the money was nice, you know, that always helps, you know, no matter what, but to make this information public information is what I think a lot of people are craving right now. We get emails and phone calls from people. They have questions about directed energy weapons and the chemtrails and I mean, everything is like going full bore right now.
Well,
and there has to be a way to research that to give people answers.
Yeah, I moved from Malibu a year ago into Brentwood, and so that otherwise my house would have been ruined by the Malibu flames. My sister's house did get injured, so she's had to now move out, and she was living in my house with their family as essentially environmental refugees during the weeks after the fire. But a lot of my friends lost their houses there, and we're representing a number of people. We're representing a lot of the people who were in Malibu who were injured. And I had a friend who's a famous actor who lost his house. I said to him, are you going to do anything in terms of the lawsuit? And he said, I don't think so, because I think it's just like an act of God, isn't it? I mean, if the globe's getting warmer, houses are going to burn, and it was our turn. And I said to him, that's not the way to look at it. There's somebody at fault for this. If it was actually God, if your house got hit by lightning, that's one thing. But these houses were destroyed because of negligence. This community was destroyed because of negligence. If it looked like a war zone up there. Yeah. If a foreign country did that to an American community, we would consider it an act of war.
Exactly.
But it was done, and it was done, you can't say deliberately, but it was done negligently, and it was done knowingly, and the outcome was predictable.
Yeah, that's the very best case scenario, that it was just negligence.
Right. Well, yeah, it was definitely, there's no question of that.
So I want to give the interviewer credit for bringing up directed energy weapons, but as you can see, RFK completely avoided the question. Are you going to tell me, sir, that this was a forest fire due to negligence? When the mobile homes are all burnt out and the trees are fine, calling it a forest fire, sir? And you're going to say it's due to negligence? Are you going to tell me that houses are cut in half due to negligence? That's your official story about why you're saying these fires occurred? Completely avoiding the correct question of directed energy weapons. How did it melt steel, sir? Fires only get up to 1,500 degrees, yet steel burns at 2,500. Are you not doing your homework? Are you not researching how can the plastic be fine, yet the cars that melt at 3,000 degrees are burned? The only answer is directed energy weapons. The only answer is directed energy weapons attacks on U.S. citizens, on people in this area of Paradise and California and China and Gatlinburg, Tennessee and Fort McMurray and all the other areas that are getting hit with directed energy weapons as the military is massively increasing their budgets on spending for laser weaponry while they mock us and make fun of us. Negligence, sir? Tell me some more lies. Come on, let's hear some more lies.
And this is a company, Pacific Gas and Electric, that had, in 2012, it had 5 of its towers in that same line blow over because of their age. Right? They were built in 1999. They rebuilt those towers in 2016, and they didn't bother investigating or inspecting the rest of the towers to see if they were structurally sound. That's just basic maintenance engineering.
Well, one of the towers that supposedly I hear that's caused this problem, that the firemen are telling me, was a tower out by Pulga that was over 100 years old.
Yeah, it was built in 1919, that tower.
Yeah, they're spending money on advertising that they're going to upgrade their infrastructure, but that money on advertising should have been spent on actually upgrading.
Right, and they've also gotten hikes in their rate base from the PUC telling the Public Utilities Commission we're going to spend that money on maintenance and upgrading our lines, but we haven't seen any evidence that they've done that.
So what do you think the chances are of, as
And by the way, this company has been held responsible criminally. And as you know, in 2012, they had the pipeline explosion.
Right.
And the criminal investigation, they're under 5 years of criminal probation right now because the judge found in that case that they had been falsifying data about their maintenance updates for 5 years. And they paid $1.6 billion. And while they're still on probation for that, this fire occurs, and it's clearly the same problem. They're not doing their regular maintenance.
So again, he's setting the meme that PG&E is to blame, a public utility company that can't go bankrupt because it's too important to everybody, but the stock falls precipitously. But we still cannot identify 157 out of 170 fires in the Sonoma area during the fires here in Santa Rosa. CAL FIRE Chief Ken Pimlott can't identify 153 of the fires still 15 months later. Yet we've got RFK Jr. saying, oh, we know that they're responsible. Yet PG&E didn't even turn off the power because they said there was no winds for the fire. There wasn't enough winds to shut off the power that day of the Paradise fires on November 8th. But now they're going to shut off our power because they say it's now to stop the fire dangers from poles falling down, while their logo shows a laser, directed energy laser coming down. Isn't that typical? And they're also putting the blame on PG&E over and over again while saying this is going to go on for a long time. Meanwhile, they're putting up installation devices everywhere to monitor, control, and use more directed energy weapons on the people here in this area.
This is not the new normal. This is the new abnormal. And this new abnormal will continue, certainly in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. And unfortunately, the best science is telling us that dryness, warmth, drought, all those things, they're going to intensify. The predictions by some scientists are that we've already gone up 1 degree. I think we can expect a half a degree, which is catastrophic, over the next 10 to 12 years. So we have a real challenge here, threatening our whole way of life. So we got to pull together. People have ideas, whether it's forest management or how to do our fire prevention. Great, let's hear about them. And we're going to have to invest more and more in adaptation. When we talk about things like the climate and the warming climate, and we talk about words like adaptation, that's what we're talking about. And it's not millions, it's billions and tens and probably hundreds of billions, even in the span of a few years. So we've got lots of work to do. It is a time of sadness, but also one to reflect on where we are and just resolve to pull together and do everything we can to help those in need and to take the steps to minimize and mitigate the damage that's so obvious. Thank you.
And it's a little bit timely, to use the word reservedly. It's timely that they put in a huge base camp up on Skyway right before this fire. I mean, the base camp is huge, and my wife and I, everybody is going, wonder why PG&E has such a big base camp. And then if you look back in time a little bit, they got into our state and relieved themselves of the responsibility if something like this would happen, and have access to a lot of taxpayers' money. What would you think about that?
And why, sir, did you not mention the massive operation at Chico Airport, the FEMA camp in there? You mentioned PG&E, but you did not mention the massive FEMA camp, which is well known to Chico residents, that has gone in there.
About what?
About them having paperwork signed with our California government, relieving them of responsibility in a situation like this.
I don't think they can relieve themselves.
I don't think they can either.
Yeah.
It's going to come out. It's not going to hold up. But all of these things.
I think we'll be able to hold them responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so, Robert, because there's a lot of people right now really counting on you and some of the other people here that's really stepping up. Because you know and I know, as the sort of media 15 minutes passes and a lot of interest is going to be lost in this, we're still going to have people in tents, in fields, with kids running around in the mud.
So as I said, I've been up there half a dozen times to Paradise. It's about 3.5 hours from where I live. And I went with Michelle Shelley Lewis to the Walmart where they were housing the tents of the people there. And here on November 16th, they were asked to leave. Hundreds of people displaced by the fire. Hundreds, not thousands. Hundreds of people displaced by the fires. And we didn't even find hundreds, folks. We found maybe 20, 30 tents, and we also maybe had about 10, 15 RVs in the parking lot. This is right around the same time we went back. Shelley went back, Michelle went back the next week, and found that they had all been cleared out where they went. The other thing to this story is that the people that we were told by the people that were there, the people that were in 1,000 people, about 50 were left. I mean, they're talking 52,000, 26,000 people that fled into Chico. Where are they, folks? We can't find them. We went to the Butte County Fairgrounds to the Red Cross, and they were shutting down the Red Cross because there weren't people there anywhere. And again, we can't find them. So why isn't a question being asked, where did the people go? Where are the people that supposedly fled and got out? According to the narrative that gets repeated over and over, that they all made it out safely. They did not make it out safely. We have tow truck drivers. We have first-person accounts saying they said the tow truck driver said the first thing he did when he went called in to start removing cars from the disaster of Paradise. It happened on Thursday. He went in on Sunday, was escorted by the police. He said that easily the first thing he saw was 200 people dead. First thing he saw. 200 people dead. And then he said he saw rows and rows of cars on the sides, parked, stuck, burned out in their cars, or the cars got too hot and they had to walk on feet. We also have testimony from people, first-person accounts, that people were stuck in the Walmart there. They did not get out. They were not saved, and they were not allowed. They did not get out. They did not get down the hill. End of story. No. We're going to keep this story alive, folks. No one else is going to keep it alive. I'm going to keep this story alive. And one more very critical point to make here is people in town told us in the areas of Chico that they had brought in the homeless to fill in the tents in the Walmart parking lot. They were not people mostly evacuated from Paradise. They were the homeless that are brought in there to show that there were people that were evacuated when in fact probably very few people got out. And still FEMA can't find room for anybody because they don't have the space. Again, I'm sorry for all you RFK Jr. believers who think that this guy is on your side, winning anti-vax things and whatnot, just to give you hopium that someone else is going to solve the problem. Ain't going to happen. They torched everything except the Masonic Lodge. They torched everything except the Christian church and the hospital and the gas pumps, but nailed the gas station. How does that happen? It's just beyond the pale how everyone has turned their attention away, yet the celebrities, as we've shown here, are flocking to paradise to talk about it in their narrative of what they're saying happened when they don't even investigate. They don't even look at my videos. No one's contacting me, and I've got, what is this, number 47 of the videos on paradise I'm putting out, and look at the numbers again, 666, and then they want your DNA. Why do they want your DNA, folks? Because it's part of the Human Genome Project. But getting back to what is going on in paradise, I mean, they're just mocking us. They're bringing in the feds. They're taking over the lands for their own dominion. They're calling it hell on earth, paradise inferno, while they got the bread and circuses in the background on 60 Minutes, their main platform for launching all the disinformation. While they're putting out news like this, look at the weather. 666 inches fell in paradise. But look at above it. You've got 9/11, 9/11, 9/11 everywhere as they mock us. Are you going to tell me that you got 6.6 inches of rain, yet over 20, 30 miles away, just you only got a little under 1.5 inches, a little over 1.5 inches? And what about this photo, folks? That's CAL FIRE employees with a sniper rifle on top of a CAL FIRE truck. Is that real? Is that true? Is that what's happened? Well, look at the pictures. These are provided from people that were there on the scenes. They're showing that blue lasers were used. They're showing that it was directed energy weapon. There's blue light on the trees that were shown. And here we have this picture that needs to go viral in front of the Kmart with lasers hitting the tree. Look at the directed energy weapons, folks. But it has to come back about the people that are lost, and wonderful people like Valerie Jager, who's helping these families, who's raising money, is doing the work that needs to be done, and while paradise is being burned and no one's going to be allowed to move back in. They're lost, they're confused, they got post-traumatic stress syndrome, they need our help. And again, you're not going to get any warnings. You're not going to get being told that someone is going to come and save your ass. That's why we need to build community. So if you can find the reasons and will to help donate, please donate if you can. But let's focus on those who have lost everything and try and help them. And in closing, the only ones that are going to help are the ones that you can look, touch, and feel in your communities. It's not going to be outside agencies. It's not going to be the government that's helping spread the lies and whatnot. It's not going to be your city local council to help. It's going to be you and I. Tag, you're it.
And so, I just drove from Fast Trip on Clark to the parking lot at Kmart.
So that on Skyway, the businesses along Skyway, as I was leaving Paradise to head down, there's chunks of concrete sized beach balls and stuff out in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Chunks of concrete?
Yeah, from the buildings that fucking.
What do you think they need to clear the road from?
What a trip, man.
It looked like a
did
bomb
you say that the fire was so hot it was like white?
No, on the tree, the one before it exploded.
Look at
That's
it
hot.
and get spots in your eyes.
Another thing is if you look at the photos, the photos that you got.
Yep.
Did you notice that the flames? Usually when there's 50-mile-an-hour winds, the flames are
laying over,
vertical, just horizontal, just shooting way ahead of itself. None of those flames are going sideways; they're going straight up. It's all burning up upward.
Yeah. And you also, the thing I keep making a point of is this thing traveled east to west, east to southwest.
We don't ever get
that's
winds
weird
from
direction
there.
for it to travel.
Yay! I've windsurfed all my life in the San Francisco Bay. There's never been any wind. We got the Sierras. We got 12,000 foot Sierras. There's no winds that come over. Give me a freaking break.
The thing too is that the fire down the Woolly Fire
Yep.
and the campfire started on the same freaking day, and they both have the windiest days on record. Both those on that same day.
On every corner.
Every corner.
So say what you just said again, if you don't mind.
Okay, all throughout town, there's multiple car pileups, and
you're a tow truck driver.
Yeah.
And so you've been seeing these cars because you're going up there to Paradise.
Absolutely. And there's so many personnel up there, so many emergency personnel. I mean, everywhere you look, there's nothing. Everything up there is everything but local cops. There's no local cops up there.
No Paradise Police?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any.
Well, they probably gave him relocated him and gave him immunity.
It's their
or
own
something.
backyard, you know, and no one wants to deal with that.
Federal trumps state, state trumps local.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it works. FEMA came into Santa Rosa and took over the operations. Red Cross and FEMA came over, took over Santa Rosa.
You know about FEMA right there, right?
No.
Yeah, they're right here at the airport.
Yeah.
The OES. Well,
they're
actually,
next door
it's
to him.
OES. It's OES.
Yeah, the Office of Emergency
No,
Services.
governors.
We're here to serve you.
The governors. It's called the. I just saw a car. I passed the car.
Governor's Office of Emergency Services.
Yes, that's what it is. And who are they? I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I've never
All of a
seen
sudden,
anything
they
like
got a big operation. Well, our tax money goes all kinds of places, don't it?
That's
for
black
free.
budget, bud.
Not for free, but I mean, we got all kinds of government agencies we had no idea we had.
Not
Isn't
to
that
mention,
lovely?
not to mention I heard the firefighters were wanting to know what the white powdery substance was on the treetops.
Interesting.
Chemtrails, maybe?
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus.
Maybe
White
phosphorus
phos-
or
it's white-
magnesium.
There you go.
Magnesium.
So the,
Magnesium ignites, and with a big lighter, you can
Right, and
ignite
so-
magnesium.
you can show my book on geoengineering, and I write about the desiccants of aluminum that they've been spraying for decades over us with the geoengineering chemtrails. Those get uprooted into the trees. That's why the trees catch fire inside.
Yeah.
So the desiccants, the aluminum, it's not hard to make thermite out of that. And then the plants, but with taking up the aluminum, become terpenes, and the terpenes ignite into high flammables. And so they're able to ignite using GPS, using lasers to target anything they want. That's why those cars, did you see a bunch of burned out cars everywhere?
Dude, that's all there is up there.
Yeah, just like fucking
Okay, there
roads
used to be,
filled with it.
bro, it's like this. I went in,
Hey,
I'm
Doug,
going,
go sit over there, will you? So I can get, will you go sit over there if you don't mind?
I'm like, holy fuck, there's nothing left. There's nothing left.
Tell me what was your first, when you first went, or when did you first experience it? What was your first experience of this?
Well, it would be probably Sunday night. That's when they started calling tow trucks in.
And the fire had started,
Thursday morning.
so it took 3 days for them to call, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday for them to call tow trucks up there?
Well, you gotta understand, the whole town's gone now. There's nothing really
Yeah,
fucking there.
no people either. Their people are dead. So what do we got to rush for?
So you went up there with your tow truck, and what did you see? What
I
did,
saw just vast. I mean, this used to be heavily forest area. I mean, it was a forest town, really.
Yeah, it was just woods.
Yeah, the woods, really pine trees everywhere. They called it the tall pines, parts of it. But you go there and there's just, I mean, here's another thing about Paradise. There used to be this much pine cones on the ground, pine needles and pine.
Right.
Everywhere you looked, I haven't seen one pine needle up there.
interesting.
It's red dirt and ash.
Wow.
And concrete. This thing burned so hot, the asphalt bubbled up on the roads.
Yeah, the roads caught on fire.
Yeah, they had to put the roads out. What kind of shit's that?
So what temperature do you think melts that?
Well, it's
oil.
blacktop is made of nothing but glues,
And oil.
adhesives, and
Tar.
tar and oil and stuff like that.
Oil,
you know
rock,
that they mix.
sand.
Yeah.
So it can bubble.
So it's going to ignite, but and rock, but it's compacted together, and the adhesives hold it together. They put adhesives in blacktop, and to ignite that, it would be like trying to ignite a wet log,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it'd be tough.
it'd be tough to get a blacktop to burn.
So you drive up there, you see the cars, and you said there were people in them?
Well, yeah, there's people in just about all of them, I imagine.
Did you see any
this
victims
truck-
inside the cars? Did you see any? He said he saw bodies. There was the springs in the seats had melted down, and the people were just down low.
Sitting
because
on the floorboard.
Sitting on the
basically.
floorboard or just sitting in the passenger seat, you know, just
I saw
Oh.
that first video that they took off the air that we were talking about earlier. That one guy that you know,
the one guy that
the girl that was
survived
putting her
and went to
makeup
the
on.
river.
When he took his camera and first panned inside the cars, you didn't see nothing. No, there was not. Doesn't even look like nothing's there. Your eyes are looking for something, but there's nothing there. But a few fragments of bone, and flesh. If there's any flesh, it's all the way down. Just
No,
like
man,
I said, melted,
vaporized.
melted, whatever. It's gone.
It's hard to
Just gone.
see the body inside of a car until you actually
Looking
see
for
it,
something.
You notice it, then you know what you're looking for then because you spot it and it looks like it's not a body in there, but you know it is because you finally spotted it.
It's just a
And then
piece
you
of-
look at all the other cars and you start noticing, holy shit, all the cars have a body in it.
Weapons of mass destruction, man. Mass murder is what just happened.
It's
up
murder.
there.
This is oh yeah, this is absolute.
And do you know people that are still missing?
I'm from this area. I'm from